oh, I don't need anything. I can pay for everything.
That's a smell of a feminism going
Yeah,
out
which
over
I
there.
don't agree with. By the way, if you're a codependent with a narcissist, this is a match made in hell.
Detective part in us, like, where did he go? What did he do?
Where he went.
Where are you now?
I knew it's sick. And I tried, out of 6.5 years, it took me 4.5 to leave.
He was looking for...
No, he was looking. Yes, he was looking for a date, which is a friend and a therapist. I wished in a different world that narcissists would be locked.
The podcast is promising to be on fire. Today we're having on Xenia Talks, the founder and creator of a TikTok live show, Best Talk in Town. Please welcome Iris Kelarescu.
Thank you very much. I'm impressed by the way that you pronounce my very complicated family name.
I practiced.
Romanian. Yeah, she did. She did. True.
So Iris, I know that you're a relationship and dating coach, and you're advising people how to maybe fix some issues within whatever the journey of life, which is either it's a wellness, either it's health kind of, right? Either it's relationships. So it's basically, I call this as more of a life coach, right? Would you say that?
Could be life coaching. I'm kind of like, and we're talking about it earlier, like a mental health coach. I definitely cover this area, which is large, dating and relationships. But the reality is that people struggle. They have a lot of other struggles, a lot of other problems and issues.
100%.
And most of them come from lack of self-confidence, something that we're going to cover today. But yes, I would call myself a mental health coach.
So how did you arrive to this specific direction? I know that you were in corporate before, and you're the resident of Dubai for 9 years. That's what I hear first thing in the TikTok. And actually, Iris is extremely, extremely active on TikTok.
Yeah.
I think you're covering now 50,000 people.
A little bit over,
A little
but
bit
yeah,
over.
around
Yeah,
50,
amazing.
let's see.
So how did you start? Just if you can give us a bit of a background.
I went to Zanzibar. So I was in the corporate world on and off for the last 18 years. And then I took a random trip to Zanzibar a few years ago. No intention. I just went there to relax, to have good food, to sleep, to rest. I didn't go there to find myself. I didn't go there to find the meaning of life, to meditate, to do anything like that. So I had 10 great days. When I came back, I started writing, blogging. One thing led to another, basically, because while I was blogging, someone asked me, why don't you go into a podcast?
Okay.
I had a different website name and I had a different name in terms of how I was positioning myself. But then I loved the idea of a podcast. So I said, okay, why not? Now I needed another name. And I heard something, and this is the funny story because you're Xenia Talks, I am Best Talk in Town. I heard something somewhere, I don't remember now. Someone said something, or I read something, or I've seen something on a social media channel maybe. Best Talk in Town. And I'm like, boom, done. I'm going to be Best Talk in Town. That's how it all started, but it started as a podcast initially.
Right.
And after a few months of podcasting by myself or having different guests, I realized that my podcast is listened by 20 people more or less. It's another podcast on Spotify on an empty shelf full of dust. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I have to probably invest. And I said, I don't want to do that. Doesn't make sense. I want to go organic. And then I already started in the meantime to create content on TikTok. I said, okay, let me move the whole party from the podcast.
I'm a big lover of TikTok, actually,
Yes.
so I
That's how we met,
understand.
actually.
Yeah, that's how we met. Yeah,
And TikTok brings people together. TikTok connects people.
100%.
So I started to live on TikTok about 2 years ago. And it was different. And I know that I did the best thing because on a podcast, I was recording on a mic like this at home, alone, or sometimes with a guest. Actually, most of the podcasts, I had a guest. But this was different because I could see myself. It was a video. And by the way, people ask me, why didn't you go on YouTube? It's complicated. And you know what it is. You need to rent a studio. With women, it's complicated. Makeup. It was difficult to find guests. Then you have to upload a video. Then anyway, it's a lot of production behind the scenes. And you know what I'm talking about.
I know.
Said, I'm not ready for this. I don't want to do this. So that's why I was just recording. Now moving to TikTok. I was engaging with people in real life. And the reason that I went there was because, and this was the initial mission of the podcast anyway, because I want to help people. And this is my mission overall. I want to help as many people as possible. And if I have a channel that gives me a voice and I can use my voice in a way that I can uplift, empower, guide, and support as many people as possible,
Amazing.
I'm doing something in this life. This is what it is for me. And only when I talk about this, I have goosebumps because it makes me so happy. So TikTok is an amazing channel.
The part of TikTok, in the beginning, everybody was skeptical about this. I discovered it, I think, during the pandemic times, because obviously we were not much busy, you know. And then I think first a few videos that I've done, they went viral, and I was like, whoa, that's not even close to Instagram or any other platform.
Yeah.
And then, of course, now TikTok is not the same as in 2020, for sure. You need to make more effort, more consistent, and more valuable content for the people to understand. If I'm coming to you today, to Iris, and I need, like, maybe I say, Iris, I'm not happy in my life. I want to change something, but I don't know what. So where would you start? How would you work with me?
Okay. First of all, I try not to deal. Why? Because I know my expertise and I know up to where I can go. And I'm very careful with that.
Yeah.
I don't work with kids. I don't work with people below 18 years old. I don't work with people that suffer from having anxiety or depression.
Right.
They have to go to a psychologist, to a therapist. Maybe they have to go on medication. I don't go there. So I'm very careful. So first I need to identify what's the problem. Now, of course, I cover dating and relationships as much as I can. It's a very hot topic. Everybody has a problem there. But it's also about other life struggles, because when we're talking about lack of self-confidence, it affects all areas of our lives.
100%.
And it's not just lack of self-confidence. It could be a lot of other factors. But from what I noticed, this is the problem in general. Why is the fear of rejection? Because you don't trust yourself. So what if someone rejected you? Move to the next person.
Exactly.
Next, right? Doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that, oh, I'm not validated, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. No, yes, you are. It just didn't work out for you. So I'm just giving an example to see that whatever it is, it all narrows down to lack of self-confidence, self-love, self-worth, self-trust.
So that's the journey starts from there, from the inside, and then the confidence is the first part that you have to understand what is about.
I
right?
go to the root cause anyway, because when someone tells me I have this problem, and it doesn't have to be just a love problem, it can be something related to I want to quit my job, I don't know what to do, I'm in a horrible environment which affects my personal life, or I want to break my comfort zone, I need a change in my life, what should I do? Or maybe I already made the change, but now it's tough, it's difficult, it's uncomfortable. How can I overcome that to reach my goals? So you see, I deal with different people that have different problems. Now, I always go to the root cause. I have to identify where does it come from. Not in all situations, but in many.
Yeah.
So I have to go back to the past, to see where are these fear coming from. And in most cases, they come from childhood. In other cases, they come from life experiences since we're adults. In other cases,
Everything.
it comes from
I think it's a childhood from the beginning.
Yes,
right?
yes, absolutely.
When you moved from the corporate world towards the self-employed and starting to work, was it a difficult change for you? Have you yourself as a person, because I think experiencing that yourself will definitely help you to inspire and to direct the people who's coming to you with the similar intentions or journey.
It was the best thing that I ever did. In the corporate world, which has a lot of benefits, I'm not saying that. And there are jobs and jobs. Some jobs are good, some jobs are not that good.
Yeah.
And I had both. But at some point, I realized that I am not that useful to this world, in the corporate world. And my question was, how do I give back?
Right.
To give back, I need to be out. I can help more if I'm out on the other side. So it was the best thing that I ever did. Now, of course, being self-employed comes with other challenges.
True.
Everything is a challenge
And
anyway.
that fear basically that everyone is having, like, oh my God, I'm not, going to get paid every month the same amount. And so how did you face that fear? Just jumped? Or?
I kill my fears.
I killed it.
I look them in the eye and I say, I'm better than you. And I have my mantra, I trust myself. For me, this works like a charm. Every time I'm afraid to do something, I trust myself, I trust the process, I trust the universe, I believe in myself, I can. Why not? I'm fabulous.
What's the mantra? Let's share.
Well, I just said it. Everything that I said, this is the whole thing. And this is what I'm telling people. Don't be afraid to work on your thoughts in a way that you are the best. Oh, it's too arrogant. No, it's not. It's about you. If you think that someone is going to come to you every day to tell you these things, nobody's going to do that. It's your own responsibility to do this. 100%. So why not? You're the best thing in the world. Are you going to make mistakes? Absolutely. What are you going to do? You're going to learn from those mistakes and you're going to move on and on to the next challenge or to the next goal that you have to achieve. But mistakes are part of the journey, and I always say that.
I also believe it's the connection to yourself in a way that how strong are you feeling that calling? When you said that you strongly feel that you were done with the corporate, yeah, and then you moved to this one. So I guess the feeling and the intention has to be strong enough to sit down with yourself and really say, okay, what are my challenges right now, right here, and what am I going to do, and what do I tell to myself to overcome those fears which you're talking about? But that's, I guess, sometimes it takes someone to say from outside. People get inspired by other people. Sometimes it's a self-confidence that, yeah, this is my personal decision. I'm sticking to it.
You're talking about the calling. I don't know. I got it from nowhere. And then I looked at the history of my life so far. Everything that I did major, it came from nowhere.
Destiny.
Yeah, I mean, everything happened because it was supposed to happen. And because I was supposed to play different roles in my life, I was supposed to go from one chapter to another. This is the chapter when I am giving back. And I'm helping as much as I can, as many people as I can.
Right.
I had the chapter when I had to leave Romania to conquer my fears, to live in other countries, because I lived in Germany before UAE.
There must be a really big contrast from Germany to Dubai.
It is. They're very different cultures. And the funny thing is that I resonate more with the Arabic culture more than the Western culture, like specifically Germany. Germany, it's something
I think
interesting.
it's the opposite. Like it's opposite of the.
And it's funny because you'd say, yeah, but you're also Christians. You're in Europe. It's in me as a Romanian, I am more close to the Arabic culture. We're very family oriented. We're very welcoming.
I think as Russian also we are more traditional, so we lean towards the traditions, which basically at the end of the day it's all the same. Basically, $1 million question, since we are talking about relationship and traditional stuff. You know, those questions I think it's discussed all over in the world wide on every podcast in entire universe right now. Men are providers in the relationship.
What a question! What a question!
Or is it a 50-50? Or I was waiting to ask Iris about this.
No, I think women should pay for everything. I'm kidding. Look, every time when people ask me questions, whether I answer questions on TikTok or I talk to someone or it's coaching or anything, I never tell people do this, do that.
Right.
My beliefs are my beliefs. What's right for me might be wrong for you and the other way around.
Sure.
So every time when I give an answer like this, it is how I see it for me personally. Now everybody has the right to do whatever they want. Look, when we're dating, and this is how everything starts, when it's an early stage of dating, I really see the guy that really has to court us, to impress us, to chase us, to hunt us. He's the hunter. Now, the fact that the roles change nowadays, that's a different topic. I don't know if we're going to have time to cover it today or not, but the man is the masculine dominant part. So I see it, I used to say 80-20, 80 for him, 20 for the woman. Maybe it's 90 for the man, 10 for the woman. But my point is that in the beginning, I think he has to impress more, right? And if you look in the animal world, look at how animals behave. True. The male dominant is doing a lot of, is putting up a show for the female to impress them and to mate with them. That's the reality, seriously. Now, coming into the human world, so this is how I see it when it starts in the dating stage. Moving further, we get into a relationship. Now, it doesn't mean that, we can relax, it doesn't matter. But I think here the woman should step a little more. So it becomes a little bit more 50-50. Now I'm talking in very generic terms, talking about the money, the financial aspect. Yes, I see the guy as the main provider and someone that has to take care of the family. But I don't think a woman should be useless. I don't think she should just... no, I'm not judging the housewives. I'm not judging women that are comfortable with that. Again, this is my opinion, my impression. I have friends like that. I know a lot of women, nothing against that. But for my type of personality, and there are a lot of women like me, I need to be busy. I need a plan B. I need to have some money in my pocket. Of course, I can spend his money. And if he has money, I'm going to spend a lot of his money. No doubt about that. But sometimes I want to do nice things for him as well. And men deserve that if it's a great relationship. And a great relationship requires work and doing things for each other. So why not take him out for a nice dinner and pay for everything? One boyfriend at some point, I took him to the opera. I got tickets. Actually, I didn't pay for the tickets. I could have, but I didn't. I could have gone with a girlfriend. I said, no, this guy is doing so many nice things for me. I'm going to take him to the opera, for example. And by the way, because he was a very nice guy, a very considerate guy, after that, he took me out to have dinner. And he paid for everything because he saw the efforts that I put, right? So anyway, bottom line, a guy can provide everything. It's great. Personally, I'm not looking for something like that. Yes, I'm looking for someone ambitious and successful. If it comes with a lot of, let's say, with, I want to say a bank account, but it sounds very bad. But if it comes with if he's equipped, financially speaking, it's a bonus. I mean, absolutely. But by the way, let's not forget that it's not everything about the money.
100%.
That's the thing. Because a lot of women, all they want is money. What about the rest parts of the relationship? And there are many people that have the money, but they're very unhappy. They're miserable.
I've noticed that, since the women started to be, let's say, more out there and working more in society as like business women, opening up their own companies. And that's where men started to question, how much do we need to provide? Like, if she does work on the same scale, maybe she's earning even more than me. Why should I be the one who is covering the whole thing? And because obviously all these traditional talks, which you are basically, whatever you said right now, it's exactly the traditional style of which I think in Islamic culture is like that, in traditional Russian culture is like that. Always men is the one who is earning, women are taking care of the house, kids. And if they do some extra stuff for themselves, like a hobby, like what makes them happy, this is what their stuff. Everything else is on men. But now we witness women go into the corporate world, earning a lot more. You can see now women in their 20s making such a huge amount of money that men of the same age, they have challenges. And that's where the men started to stand up and say, like, why should I? Like, she does the same thing. Like, why should I? We don't have kids yet. We don't have...
They're not men, they're women, if they do that.
That's the point. So, like, if you ask me about these things, I feel like what men has to think about, first of all, is self-respect. I feel that comes from that, because when you're providing, you're automatically being respected by the society, and also you're pushed to do more in your life. And if you're pushed to do more, you are living this life in the right direction, because nobody wants to go backwards, right? Isn't it? And this is the challenge, what I see in social media right now. So many people having this crazy battle about like who is right and who is wrong. And I'm very happy actually to live in Dubai, where I can see those type of questions are not even a questions, because you don't need to discuss who's earning what. You don't need to discuss, because it's already by default established by the families that brought the people who came here. However, when we have Europeans coming in the beginning, I think before they seeing all this dating world going, whatever is happening, they start to push this 50-50 agenda where like a woman has to provide the same way. But then if you want to do something equal, you have to do it from the very beginning, isn't it? And we can't say women and men are equal. I don't see any single thing that is equal over there.
No, there's no. We're just different. And I always say that men and women, they're not equal. They cannot be, because I can do things that they cannot, and the other way around. We're just different in a good way. Doesn't mean it's inferior or superior.
Yeah.
But you were saying that men are now expecting for women to pay more. In a way, it's not even their fault. The problem is that women made them be like that, because I don't need anything, I can pay for everything.
That's a smell of a feminism going
on.
Which
I don't agree with.
I'm not
with the modern feminist. I am with the not the conservative, the traditional feminist that really did a lot of things. Those women back in the time, they did a lot of things for us, and that's why where we are today, and I'm grateful for that. But with what's happening nowadays, with these women that are over empowered, they're disempowering men, and they are ruining the balance.
Right.
And that's why a lot of men, in a way, I understand them, because if this is what you give to someone all the time, is the power of habit. This is what they get all the time. Of course, they're like, you know what, if you're so strong.
Men are very smart, and they wouldn't do anything extra if you don't have to.
On the other hand, a masculine dominant man, what would be like, I don't want to deal with these women. They're not what I'm interested in. I'm a man, and I am providing, or I'm doing this and that. Because,
however, it's very tempting, isn't it?
Now, of course, it's easy to judge, I mean, and I'm trying not to as much as I can, but yeah.
In life, I put it all towards the self-respect, as much as for women, when you talk about confidence, and as much as for men, because what is man confidence is built on appreciation of the people that love him, isn't it? On the family that he's raising, and that's what is, they are all under his name, isn't it? Starting from the wife and from the kids, it's all his name, it's all the genetical line of specific men who is moving forward with this family. And that's why I think people overlook those type of things. They look at it from the point of who spends what, when they have to look at the self-development point more, because if he's spending more on his family, he earns more, obviously, right? Because the family is happier, and there is a lot of whole consequence world going on.
At the end of the day, a healthy relationship, it's a healthy relationship. A relationship comes with some sort of compromise anyway, or more compromises. It doesn't mean sacrifice, attention, it's compromise. But in a healthy relationship with two sane individuals that are working actively on the relationship in a fun, cool, and considerate way, there's always going to be a middle way. Last month you paid more. Maybe I'm going to pay something. I don't know. It really depends. Right. And especially in a relationship that is working well for a couple of years already, they know each other. They're used to each other. So bottom line, in a healthy relationship, things are going well. And a relationship is with good and bad. It's with ups and downs. But we're always working on it. And sometimes money can be a problem. Money can be a challenge.
Most of the time, I would say. Considering the expenses of how expenses are growing in the big cities. We were just talking before the podcast that it's very hard to maintain the family of having 2 to 3 kids with all those expenses. So they need the two partners to contribute to the financial thing. True. However, you also don't want to overdo that, because from the woman's side, like, you don't want the man to be feeling that he's not doing anything and, she's carrying forward, because women are crazy in that sense. Once they get on the line of providing, they are going insane. They cannot stop. They just, because they feel extremely responsible for the family and the children.
People forget to talk, and then they expect for their problems to vanish or to be fixed by I don't know who, but they don't talk to each other. And I always get questions: how should I do this? What about this? How can I solve this problem? And I ask them, did you talk? No. Okay, then what do you want? Sit down and talk and try to understand each other. And maybe one conversation is not enough. It's going to be a series of talks.
Right.
Cool. Just come to our talks,
podcast. Come to podcast.
Yes. Yeah.
On your TikTok streams, I've seen you a lot talking about men empowerment in a sense. If you could just unfold a little bit, what do you see that we have to empower men about?
Men are very important in our lives. And we're always so focused on empowering women in a way that sometimes we disempower men.
Overdo it.
We can even overdo it. Yes, absolutely. We really need to take care of the mental health of men. But we're talking earlier before the podcast that also men became a little weaker. I mean, that's okay to express your feelings. We want you to talk to us. We want you to be open. We want you to be honest. We want you to let it go and just, like I said, open up. But also, don't forget, you're still the dominant part. I mean, if I'm with someone that cries every day, that someone said something to them, or things are not working out at work. I mean, of course, I'm there to support you 100%.
Right.
But even me as a woman, do you want me to cry every day because something happened?
Dramatic and victimized kind of style of relationship. How do we actually make them stronger, you would say? I think that's what our intention as women, to make men stronger. That's what I see.
Now there are a lot of initiatives. We have groups for men. There is something in Dubai that is very popular, and they gather once a week, twice a week. They do stuff together, the guys. They have different activities, and they talk about what's happening, what's not happening, daily activities. I don't know what's going on there because I've never been. I can only assume, but it's a support group, and I know for sure that they empower each other. Then, of course, we have coaching or therapy for men. And I always tell people, you need to do things because sometimes us women, we can come and help, just like men can come and help, but up to a certain point, then it's up to them or up to us. So you need to figure out what makes you happy, what brings you joy, what you're passionate about, and do those things because they're part of your lifestyle. And the way that you live your lifestyle, it affects your mental health
100%.
In a positive or a negative way.
No, I think relationship is a largest part of well-being in general. Because whole spectrum of life fields consists of every part, which is one is work, social life, right, a relationship with yourself and relationship with your partner. So basically, if that one or two parts are missing within this whole circle, then definitely it's affecting the other ones. And also, do you think men have to be more emotional, maybe? Or
who wants a very emotional man? I mean, the reality is like this, and we have men watching us.
Some
right?
women, they love emotional men, by the way. They want to have this understanding and like the talks and
That's too
full
much.
support.
They want to talk every day. Talk about that. I don't want to talk every day. I want my space. I mean, especially after a long day. I mean, of course, we're going to interact, and I like to talk, and I like to have a partner that sits down with me, and we have a conversation here and there. But I'm not the type of woman to go into blah 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 all day long.
Yeah, and I see some people, they can talk all the day on the phone. I mean, that's what they want from the men, or they send them messages all the day. But that, I think, comes down to being busy or having your own thing. And that's what I think men like, when a woman have her own thing. She's busy with her own stuff, and she doesn't have this, detective part in us. Like, where did he go? What did he do?
Where he went?
Where are you now?
Well, the formula is very simple. My space, his space, our space. That's it. And as long as we can balance this in a healthy way, it's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we kind of, we almost found the solution for certain things.
Oh, there is always a solution. Every
There's
problem
always
is minimum
a
a
solution,
solution. But the problem is that nowadays we're very excuse-oriented, not solution-oriented. And we're the lazy generation compared to the generation of doers that we used to have.
I think a big part of that is TV and movies and psychology of
Social media.
Social media also, of course. But social media, at least, it's closer to kind of, reality where you can have the real people. But when you talk about the movies, where I was listening to one psychologist, she said she was trying to find one movie where she would find a healthy relationship between a couple. And she couldn't. Like, there was no scenario where people were, either they were like emotionally depending on each other. It is like one is a victim, one is saving, one is abuser, one is another one. So all of those things, what she summarized is that what we are fed on TV, that's what people look at TV, like we're watching movies from the childhood, right? That's where we get definitely the idea, besides the family, about how a relationship's supposed to be. It's never healthy. They never teach us how to, the boundaries things. There is a lot of talks about narcissism right now. By the way, what's your opinion about that?
I have a PhD in narcissism.
Oh, seriously?
Because I had to deal with a couple of narcissistic partners, girlfriends, and I also have one family member. Narcissism, it's a very toxic thing. It's very difficult to identify when you don't have enough experience, when you don't give yourself enough love, when you have different patterns that you didn't break. And narcissists are everywhere, and they're always looking for the next victim. I wished in a different world that narcissists would be locked because they create a lot of pain. They're individuals that they're not healed. In this world, we have two categories of people. That's simple it is. One category has chosen to heal. This is people like us, normal people. And then the other category, they did not. Of course, you can categorize them in sociopaths and psychopaths and borderline. There are different categories. But let's stick to the typical narcissist, right?
Yeah.
These people are perfect. They are in continuous denial. There's nothing wrong with them. They will never go ask for help. They will never go to therapy. They will never admit anything. They have zero empathy. Everything is on you. They are always right. You're always wrong. They will always put something on you. And when you have the nerve to fight back, oh, now you're defensive. What's going on? What's wrong with you? Why are you doing this? Are you okay? It's a very tough and dangerous psychological game that if you don't reach a point in your life to master it, thank God I did. But of course, I had to deal with 3 narcissistic partners, a couple of girlfriends, and I'm still dealing with my mother. My mother is actually the easiest one, to be honest. Thank God. But if you don't learn how to master this, and it took me 20-something years to do that, it's tough because you're stuck there. You cannot leave. My first narcissistic relationship was 6.5 years. Wow. And I knew it's wrong. I knew I'm not supposed to be there. I knew it's not right for me. I knew it's sick. And I tried, out of 6.5 years, it took me 4.5 to leave.
Wow.
Another one was 2 years. That was a little easier because, in a way, because it was long distance. In a way easier because actually there was a lot happening. And the last one was 3 years. Out of the 3 years, it took me 1.5 to leave. So this is one thing. So this is with narcissists, they will never change. So the only
How do you
way is to
identify
leave.
in the early stage? I mean, since you have experience, is there like some traits, they call it red flags of how do you know that you're good? Because it's, as you said, it's very tough because there is emotions involved, right? So very tough to leave because there is a manipulations, I'm sure about that. And
In the
other
beginning,
things.
it's very difficult to identify because they're very charming. They will hook you, they are very charming. They love bomb you in many cases. Everything is wonderful. So if you have 3 months of a great dating stage, and then you're getting into something serious, and then when things are getting more serious, you start to see the red flags, but you're the victim, you're confused. You're like, oh, maybe it's me. Maybe it's not them. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe it happens one time. Maybe it's an exception. Maybe I can do something about it. Oh, I should have patience. This is how victims think. And that's why you reach the dating stage, and then you get into a relationship, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. And then you already know that you're in the wrong place with the wrong person, but you're so hooked and addicted. And by the way, if you're a codependent with a narcissist, this is a match made in hell. Yeah. But let's assume you're not a codependent.
You talk financially codependent or emotional?
No,
any type of.
It can be it can be money, but actually in this situation it's not really. It's not about the money. You're hooked, you're addicted to that person. It's like a drug. It's a drug.
I was supposed to say.
The worst drug in the world, it's human addiction. In my last relationship, if we're not seeing for 2-3 days, I felt like a drug addict that is not taking a drug, literally. I felt like I cannot breathe. I couldn't do my things. I was like, I'm choking. And then I was getting my dose for a day or two. I was okay it was like a cycle. I was okay another 2-3 days. And then I was getting into, where is he? You know, the relationship was messed up anyway. We're not seeing each other on a regular basis, you know?
Right.
Anyway, now the question is always like, okay, this is narcissistic behavior. Then what do we do? Because at some point we're like, I cannot take it anymore, but I cannot leave. What am I doing?
That's the main problem of every.
And it takes years to leave, not months. It takes years to leave. The moment and that's the thing. You need to go in many cases through more than one relationship like
to realize this
yes,
is the thing,
to start understand, to put all those lessons together. You need to. I've been to therapy. Actually, it's funny because I never went to therapy because of narcissism. I went because of other things. So, okay, now we have the narcissists. We know who they are, how they are, what they're doing. Again, the question is, how do we live? The moment that you put yourself number one, everything will change. And the moment that you start to say no to them. And that's how I managed to get rid of them, by saying no, but constantly. I couldn't say, especially to the last one. I said no for 1.5 years. He didn't want to let me go because I was special. No, I was convenient. Big difference. I was convenient. And I kept saying no. And eventually I got blocked everywhere because I was not convenient anymore. I was not special. I was nothing because Iris kept saying no. But that's the thing. You need to stick to your no. You need to take your power back. That's another thing. Narcissists will take over your power, everything. And the moment that you start to say no to them and yes to yourself, then you're getting your power back. And this means that you also put yourself first, you give yourself love. And you're like, no, I'm better than that. Because the narcissist will always put you down. The first one, look at you. Say, thank you that I'm with you. Nobody would look at you. And I believe that on one hand. On the other hand, I was like, it was my first relationship. I have an excuse for that. But on the other hand, I was like, what the hell? Something is out.
It's not true.
Yes. They're big time manipulators and liars. They lie all the time from day one. All the time. They're lying.
But isn't it also a question, why do we attract those people? Like why some women never attract narcissists? Maybe they're because they're themselves like that, because we have female version and male version, isn't it?
I will tell you why I attracted narcissists, because I had daddy issues and it took me a long time to solve them, because I always looked in a man. Many of the traits that my father had, like I wanted a charismatic individual, good looking, attractive, dominant, smart, educated. And all these men were like this, but
there comes but
they were crazy. My dad was not crazy actually, but I never got the love that I wanted, the attention that I wanted. And I was chasing these individuals because they were impersonating everything that my dad had. But what I was desperately looking for, it was acceptance and love, something that I didn't get. And in the beginning, I didn't understand that. I didn't know that.
Do people have to go through such a long life experience to actually figure this out, or there is any way? Because I'm sure I feel every family has this type of things, because what they say about our generation now, we are let's say the suffering one, because we are the ones who stopped coping with those traumas. We started to ask questions. why it's not working, why is it like that, or why is it like that, right? Whether our parents, maybe they were not even bothered with that because they were having other things to it's a different world they used to live and different world we are living right now. Now, when people identify in themselves something is wrong, something is not going right, how do they have to go directly to somebody to help them, or is it what, sit down on YouTube and find some psychologist?
So there are cases and cases. After those 6 years and a half, other people would have gone to therapy, would have been depressed, would have been through a really rough time. For me, it was the opposite. I was like, finally, I'm free. Because with that guy, I couldn't do anything. I was not allowed to do anything. I was alone. Until I said, you know what, I'm done. I cannot take it. Because I always had to choose him or the rest of the world. Well, you know what? After 6.5 years, I'm going to choose the rest of the world. I'm bored. I'm done. And for me, it was great because I started really finally to live my life in my mid-20s. Right? My first male figure was my dad. He was very strict. Then I got my second male figure. I was in a cage until 26. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I want to live my life. And I was great. Mentally, I was really good. But maybe I was a lucky case.
Because you remember when you mentioned of the time frame, like it takes you a few to figure it out. Then it takes a time to leave this relationship. I mean, at the end, like you look like half of life already passed, just figuring out some issues that happened previously, right? This is the childhood stuff always we go back to childhood from the beginning.
Very important to heal our wounds because otherwise we cannot go into the next relationship as healthy individuals. And this is another problem. There are many people that they don't take enough time to heal. They jump from one relationship to another.
How do you do that without actually being triggered by the partner? You know what I mean? Some people, I'll tell you, I have multiple examples. They say, okay, I broke up now with this narcissist, for example. I'm free mind now. I'm living my life and all of these things. And then they go either to therapy, either they go to like, self kind of stuff, like understanding what I want, what I love. I love myself. They're doing different types of ways of, in their opinion, to recover. But then the moment they meet another man, and then there is another trigger coming, everything comes.
I will explain you. It all narrows down to self-trust. If you trust yourself, why would I judge that person based on my previous toxic relationship or experience? That person is a new person and has the right to have a chance to enter my life. And maybe we try to do something together. We're going to date. Maybe we're going to get into a relationship. I cannot judge all the other people that are coming next based on what happened to me 5 years ago.
But that happens automatically. I don't think people can control this type of...
They can. I can. If I can, a lot of other people can. Yeah, I never did that. And I never judged a man. I always, and people are afraid to be vulnerable. I'm like, okay, you need to give some trust. It doesn't mean that once you give the trust, doesn't mean that you don't look around. We're not stupid, of course. But I give you trust. Now, what you're going to do with the trust that I gave you, that's up to you. Because people think, oh, if I'm going to control them and not sleep at night and always maybe check their phones and be like this all the time. How do you say in English? In French is en garde, like, oh, nothing is going to happen. What kind of a life is this? I'm not a police officer. I don't want to live like this. I like you. Maybe there's something that could be here. Take my trust and do whatever with it. It's up to you. You're an adult. You want to cheat on me? You want to go the wrong way? It's up to you. If I don't catch you, even better, Of course, now we're getting into cheating, which is a different topic. But anything that could happen, let's say it turns out that it's a toxic individual, I need to give it a chance.
Otherwise, if you don't give chance, you wouldn't know anything. You would not move on with your life.
Exactly. And if you start, oh, I have the last guy that I was seeing, I have trust issues. Okay, leave. Goodbye. Thank you. What do you want me to do? It means that you didn't fix your problems. And then I'm not your coach. I'm not your therapist. I'm not going to help you.
Maybe that's what he was looking for.
No, he was looking. Yes, he was looking for a date, which is a friend and a therapist. You need to allow yourself to be a little vulnerable. You need to trust yourself. You need to trust the other person and see what will happen. And Tony Robbins says, no risks, no rewards.
That's true.
It's a gamble. It's a lottery. You want to win, you got to play. If you don't want to play, don't play. Stop it. Don't date, don't do anything, or be afraid, and then nothing good is going to come out of that.
You mentioned the cheating as a separate topic. I think a few weeks back, I've seen a very strong video on one of the social media platforms. It was a lady. She's a single girl in Dubai. And she said, like, I'm having perfect life. I'm really enjoying the work that I do. I'm taking care of myself. And I do look for a partner. Her frustration was she keep getting attention from the married men who don't tell her that they are. And her question was, why? Why do you come to a lady who has her life sorted? She's not that person who can be a side person for someone. There are people who can. And when nobody's judging anyone again. But I think it's visible when you see a person who can and there is a person who cannot. Is there any thinking process that those type of men have? Or to me, if you ask me, I think nobody has this thinking process. It's a pure, beautiful woman there walking around, and why not to try, right? But what's your stand on that?
Why they do it? Because they can, first of all. Because they are predators and because they want diversity. In many cases, because not every marriage is bad when it comes to cheating. Some marriages are perfectly fine, but you're getting bored at some point. So instead of doing some things together as a couple, as a married couple, and work on our relationship, let's go and cheat, and meet other people and have a little bit of fun and diversity.
Because that's really comes to the question when you say give a chance to someone, give your trust to someone, and then that person fakes that he has no relationship, he's single, or he doesn't mention it until you ask.
The wife's perspective or the girlfriend?
To be honest, from the girlfriend, from the lady's perspective, when she's approached in that way and she has no idea, and the crazy fact that those men usually, as you said, they're very charismatic, they're very caring, they're very generous, they're amazing because they've been built by a family already. And as you said, maybe they feel bored at some point, but they really love this romance that they don't get at home. And they go and just grab one lady who is, thinking she might have good relationship, maybe potentially husband in the future. And then she faced that. Again, trauma. We are coming back to the trauma because after she spent, let's say, 1 month or 2 months thinking he's a nice guy, and then he's basically married to someone else, and he's not planning to obviously to leave or any changes to be done.
Again, you don't know, and there are 2 types of married men that do that. Type number 1 is gonna say, and at least you know what you're dealing with, and you can
That's
leave.
At least fair.
And actually, a lot say, to be honest, but many. They don't want to. They don't want to risk it that eventually the wife is gonna find out. They're scared, and in some cases, the wives and the kids they live far away. They live in another country. I know someone that used to do that, and I said it's not fair because they need to know. And some were falling for him. Some women that he was dating. I said,
I think it's a bit of self-validation from the men's side.
Yes, and you're playing with their feelings. And he said, yeah, but, I don't want to risk it. Maybe they're going to do some research and find my wife and I have a kid. And even though his marriage was bad, his marriage was not even working. Okay, get a divorce. We have something called divorce.
A lot of people stick because of the children,
But look, I don't think this is not alive. The moment that I date someone, I need to be the FBI. I need to be CID, FBI, CIA and everything. And I have to go check. And I don't want to do that. Again, it's a lottery and I need to play here and there. But I'm going to look around. And now, me being more mature, me personally, I'm paying more attention to the red flags and to the green flags equally, which I before I was not, because all I wanted was to get in a relationship. And now I don't.
It's a good time.
Yeah. Let's put it on the other side. We have friends. Friends can also betray our trust. Friends can also mislead us and hurt us. Then it means that everyone that comes our way, and there is a potential to build a relationship, any kind of relationship. Again, what am I, CID? Do I have to look in archives? Do I have to go on Google? Do I have to check them? Do I have to call their previous 5 jobs? Everything, their history with other people? I mean...
I know a friend who does that. She's a number 1 investigator. There are some...
To investigate them.
Amazing. If you come to her, tell her just first name and last name, phone number. Whole history.
Yeah, I have a
social
friend.
media like LinkedIn, all of this, and then there is a connection, relatives, which one is a wife, even she will find the kids.
I will do this if I'm married with someone for a long time and I really suspect something and I see signs. Oh, I'm going to be the best detective. I'm going to investigate. I'm friends in the airport, in the supermarkets, in the gas stations, everywhere. But this is a different story because now I have some signs. I need to figure something out and I'm being taken as a fool. So I need to dig deep. But otherwise, especially in the beginning, just be careful, look around and let it go a little bit. That's how I see it.
In my job, I meet people daily. I'm in sales. So I think this type of psychology that you develop when you meet people in general, I don't know, you could sense if the man has family or not. I don't know from where, but I could see that.
Look, I work with energies and I'm into these things. Trust me, sometimes you don't feel it. You don't know. You just, yes, sometimes I also feel and sometimes I don't feel anything. And I'm very wrong. But it is what it is.
But what do you think it happens to women? I mean, why because maybe it still comes down to what she's looking for. Again, the man who stands out, the man who is financially generous, this type of circle. And then where maybe single man is not that willing to give all that effort in the beginning, if you know what I mean. Because
married men are more eager to mingle than single people.
100%.
Did you notice?
100%. I've seen that.
No.
Because single has another 5 maybe options.
Yeah.
But married, he found one, thanks God, and he's gonna work on it.
I know married men, they have more than 10 options. So, and they have good
that's
marriages.
the capacity, obviously. That's the capacity.
No.
Yeah, true. We live in Dubai. I think 205 nationalities living in Dubai. That's the exact number. Do you think nationality and those type of things, they would affect the style of relationship that people have? The mentality, the way they were brought up? Let's say Indian is marrying African, Filipino is marrying British, things like that. Is it something that
more or less we're humans at the end of the day, and I know the way that we grow up, our environment, the experiences that we've been through in this life, they have an impact and they create our reality. But at the end of the day, we're all humans, we're all the same. And if someone wants to cheat, they will cheat. It doesn't matter that the religion, the color, the nationality. If they want to be disrespectful, they will be. It doesn't matter. For me, it's very simple. If you're respectful, if you're nice, I don't care. Your skin color, where you come from, your religion, your culture, your parents, I don't care. Even I always like to surround myself with educated people. But honestly, I met people that they didn't have a chance to go to school. They polished themselves and they became great individuals. And I don't care. They're great with me. And there's another thing that I don't do. I don't judge. I don't judge my friends, because if I do, I will never have friends. And I try not to judge the people because it's always easy to sit from a side and point fingers. You don't know what's going on there.
Right.
You don't know what's inside.
It's all basically equal in a sense? You don't think there is a difference where, because sometimes I get also like some women when they're talking, like they said, they would prefer to have same mentality men who would understand their values. And also comes down to what women wear. If we're talking about Islamic country, we understand what women wear is totally different from the European countries. And by the way, that's a big contradiction in Dubai right now. We've got a lot of people coming and during Ramadan, they're wearing very, very revealing clothes, literally no clothes, I would say.
I know.
And I see a lot on TikTok, a lot of people who spend here around 10 to 15 years. And they're not Muslims even. They're like, why? Why do you act like that? This is really the time, because we got used to when we came here before, we got used to, and we felt like we have to respect, first of all, and there were rules. Now rules become a bit softer, so people, in a way, don't really, but I'm coming from the point of behavior, the attitude, how a woman look like in the relationship with a man who maybe, because of the cultural things, would not accept that.
To be honest, I know Christian men that they're more close-minded than a lot of Muslims. So that's the thing. Being a Muslim and coming from Islam, it doesn't mean that they're all conservative. And if someone is too conservative, because I was in that situation, I said, thank you very much. It doesn't work out for me. Nothing can happen between us. And that's okay. But I know a lot of other men that they're very open as Muslims. Then I know a lot of Christians. My first was Christian, and what he
very
did to
conservative.
Yes, very conservative. So it doesn't matter. It is your mindset. It is how you were raised, and it's your set of beliefs. So if you want to be jealous, conservative, controlling, possessive, you will be no matter where you come from. Doesn't matter.
So if we meet someone, like if a lady she has an option of different cultures that she could date, you don't think it should be, I'm dating because he's similar culture? Or
I wouldn't date Romanians. Let's put it like this. Of course, never say never.
That's an interesting fact. Like, you're Romanian and you wouldn't go for a Romanian.
Never say never. Right. But in general, I'm not interested much in East Europeans. And to be honest, the Europeans that they live in Dubai from all the other countries, for me, I'm like, what's wrong with them?
Which one you're interested in? We have people, right? Which one you're interested in?
No, Serbians. We have to go for Serbia, because the best person that I ever dated was from Serbia. And I heard that apparently it's very easy to date in Serbia. I don't know. We need to take a trip to Serbia to launch a campaign or something. Guys, there is something going on in Serbia. And there was a debate on topic, and there is a girl that lives there, and she said, I don't even need to use the dating apps. All I need to leave is to leave the house.
Just walks around.
And we were all like, what?
You said that Romanians will not be the option. because you know the culture very well, you didn't feel comfortable. That's what
No,
you're
but
saying.
me, I click very well with Arabs, not the very conservative ones. It doesn't work with me. And especially if they start to explain me it's better to do certain things, I will explain them. Maybe it's better that you don't do or do certain things. So please don't play these games with me. But there were a lot of Arabs that I dated. They were very open. It's just whatever, you know.
But isn't it something when they look at the dating thing, but when it comes to marriage, it's a different story?
I was never married with one, so I cannot relate to that. But then
because you know how many situations where it's
we will divorce because you will not change my core identity. Again, a relationship is compromise, but I will not sacrifice because you have these beliefs and you were not brave enough to tell me this before we got married. If you tell me after we got married, I will go to court. I'm gonna get a divorce.
But it could be kids involved at that point already.
Another thing, I'm going to communication. We need to discuss these things before. It has to be very clear.
So you talk before you start. That's what.
If we have kids, I can still divorce.
I know. It's just hard.
And I would also convert. I don't have a problem with converting, but it doesn't mean that I have to do certain things. But that's the thing, because the world outside of the Middle East, this is how they perceive Arabs. Arabs are very strict. They are very limited. They're very conservative. I have a lot of examples around me. They are married with women from other countries. These women have other religion. They're totally okay. They have very, very healthy marriages or relationships.
I actually know also a lot of Arabs who would say they would never go for Arab women, for example.
Yeah,
happened
absolutely.
as well a lot. Yeah. Just like what you said right now, I'm not gonna go for Romanian.
No, again, never say never.
Do we burn ourselves on our own nationality? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like Russians is not that much for me also. I don't know. There is something about it that is either when you leave your country at some point and you're exposed to multicultural communities, that's where you understand there are different ways of dealing with people and you go where you feel comfortable, isn't it? It's not about like nationality, as you said. How does this whole thing work with us being so comfortable in different culture?
Well, I'm here for 9 years, you're for 18?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For me to fit in was very easy from the beginning. I was traveling to Dubai before moving here. I was even dating someone long distance anyway, and then I moved, but we were not together.
Was the reason
anymore.
that you moved, or
No, we're not together anymore. But it was very easy to fit in. I was already in the salsa community. I knew people. And then from there, I met other people. By the way, I was in Dubai for 2 weeks and I was going out to random networking events to meet people. This is what I was doing from the beginning. And this is how I created my network of people. Of course, not everybody is there after 9 years. Some people got married. Some people moved. Some people disappeared, whatever. So it was very easy to fit in terms of general lifestyle, to fit in terms of building friendships. No problem for me. My challenge is how to fit in terms of business, in terms of work, because I am Romanian. So I don't really fit in any large group. I'm not Arab. I don't speak Arabic. I'm not Indian. I'm not Pakistani. And they are very big communities. I'm not Russian. And I'm saying Russian because I know we're both from Eastern Europe, but the Russian community is much larger than the Romanian one. I know we have a lot of Romanians. I don't know how many, 10,000 more or less, maybe more. Yeah. But compared to other groups, we are still, in my point of view, a minority. So when it comes to business, it's a little bit difficult. And at some point, I was struggling, where do I fit? And at the end of the day, I don't even care where I fit. I fit in my own bubble and I do what I have to do with my best purpose. And remember, because that's how we started this, my mission is to help as many people as possible. So for this, I don't have to fit anywhere. I wake up every day. I'm very consistent. I do everything that I have to do. I'm also very disciplined, and that's it.
So people can find you on TikTok, live show.
Best Talk in Town. I changed my name a bit. Now I am Iris in Dubai, but you still have their Best Talk in Town. And I actually
I searched you on TikTok and you pop directly. When you put Best Talk in Town, you can find you easily in the TikTok. Yes.
So, really? Where in Google?
And not Google, but I think if you put Google as well, because there are not too many best talks and towns in Dubai.
Right.
But TikTok directly gives you.
Content creator on TikTok. We have TikTok Mina, and TikTok Mina is pushing more the creators that speak Arabic, which is okay, I understand. I just wish they push creators like us, because we're many, especially in the Middle East, but specifically in Dubai, where a lot of other nationalities that we don't speak Arabic, and we create content in English, and we bring a lot of value and quality. So one of my dreams is that TikTok Mina has a campaign to support a little more these other influencers that they don't speak the language. And anyway, just to finalize with this, in terms of, like I said, in terms of fitting, a lot of people I know they're struggling. I have to fit into a certain group, to a certain community. And I get it, because we're built to be in communities and in partnerships and in relationships. But sometimes there are certain things we have to do on our own, and we have to be okay with that. For me, it's a struggle. I'm going to be very honest, but it's a struggle that I try to manage every day in the best possible way, because it's also related to my mental health.
Wow. What a beautiful podcast we had today. I think we covered like not everything, whatever we could, but it was like really productive. I like informative also, I would say. Thank you very much, Aris, for joining. And we'll see how it goes, but maybe we can point on some subjects we haven't covered this podcast, and we're gonna do it again.
Maybe next year at the same time, Best Talk in Town is gonna be more famous. We're going on the radio. This is what I want. I have to be on the radio 3 times a week, 9 to 11 p.m. This Thursday.
We check it exactly 1 year from now.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.